Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. So as you can see from the title, today I thought I would do you a baby name video. So these are all going to be names that we like but won't be using. So if you are new here, I am currently 6 months pregnant with a baby boy, and we already have a little girl who is soon to be 3 and her name is Polly. So I've got a list and I have got 6 girls' names that I liked and 6 boy names. Now with Polly's name, we always kind of knew she was going to be Polly, but I also really liked the name Alba from the film Time Traveller's Wife that I used to watch when I was younger. So I didn't really want to lose the Alba, so we created a double-barreled middle name for her. So her name is Polly, and then Alba Rose is one name together. So yeah, the girls' names that I like, there is a bit of a theme with my names. I do quite like old-fashioned names, and that's where me and my partner differ a little bit. He didn't straight away, he said no. Name number 1 is the name Edie. He said no to Edie because it's not Edith, I like just Edie. I think Edie just sounds really cute and pretty and girly on a little baby. It was always since school been one of the names that I've liked. Oh, when I grow up and I have a baby, I'm going to call it Edie. But straight away, he said no. Name number 2 is the name Madeline. So not Madeline. Sorry, I don't like Madeline. Or Maddie. Just the French spelling of Madeline. I don't think you hear it as much. You hear a lot of Madisons. It just reminds me of the film that I used to watch when I was younger, which was set in France, and it was like a school run by nuns and they all had little straw hats on. Yeah, and she was called Madeline, and I just think it's really pretty. Name number 3 is the name Dottie. Tribute to the name Dorothy. So if you've got anybody in your family, it's a nice way of sort of using it but without the really sort of old version of Dorothy. I also love Dot. I think a baby Dot sounds so cute, just really pretty and a bit out there but without going too old. Name number 4 was the name Betty, which my partner actually did say that he quite liked the name Betty. And I know they can be quite old lady names, but you know, one of the fastest growing names at the moment I think is Mabel, and that's quite old. So why not have a baby Betty? Name number 5 was the name Joy. Name number 5 was the name Joy. And I just think that's a really lovely one, especially if you're going through your pregnancy and this pandemic and you want, you know, a nice happy name to call your baby. I just think Joy, how short it is. I actually think it will be quite a popular middle name as well. Like Rose is such a popular middle name, and I think in a few years to come Joy will be a middle spot. I would definitely have used it as a middle spot if I hadn't have used it as the first name. And name number 6, probably the most modern on my list, is the name Amora. So like love in French, or amour, which is just a bit of a spin on the girl's name Aurora. I think the name Aurora is so popular now, it's just growing so much that the name Amora, similar but not exactly the same, and I don't think that there'd be any other Amoras in her class. So yeah, they were all the girls' names that I liked this time round, but it's a boy, so that's the reason why we won't be using the girls' names. Sorry, I'll just catch my breath back. Now, down to the boys' names. These names are not 100% off of the list. These are just names that we've sort of discussed, and there's been a few reasons to why we might not choose them. So you never know, his name could be on here, but might not be. We might be back to square one again. So when I was pregnant with Polly, we loved the name Henry for a boy. That was what we were always going to call it if we had a boy. Even in the future we said, right, if we had a boy, even in the future we said, right, we've got our boy's name. Since my cousin has had a little baby Henry, so that's Polly's cousin, so we won't be using that. I know that you could argue the fact that you could still use it, but we won't be. That's him, that's his little personality, so I won't be using that name. But sort of sticking on quite similar name to Henry, I like the name Hector. That was name number 1. But again, my partner just thought it was too old, with like Hector's house, and you know, is it a bit too posh and yeah, so straight away that was a no really. Name number 2 is the name Albert, which I love because you can shorten it to Albie or Bertie or Bert, but I just like Albert. But I think for Mike that would be too old. He probably would go with Bertie, but not Albert. Name number 3 is the name Rupert, which I know so many people would be like, oh, Rupert the bear. I think there's always that with names. You always just associate it with somebody or something or someone you know or a memory. So yeah, but I just love the name Roo. Like, he could be Rupert as a baby or when he's older, and then the nickname Roo if he didn't like Rupert. Which brings me on to name number 4, which is Reuben. But some of my friends are teachers and they've said that Reuben's getting quite popular, and I don't really like it I wouldn't like it if there was like 3 of them in the same class. But again, you could use the name Roo for Rupert. But my partner said it's like the film Along Came Polly. We'd have a Polly and a Reuben. Not that many people would even know that, probably. But yeah, straight away that was his comeback to it. So that was Reuben. And name number 5 is the name Edward. I've always loved the name Edward. I had a teddy bear called Edward when I was little. But I don't like the name Eddie, and I don't like the name Ed. And I think I don't like the name Ed. And I think with boys, if you have a longer name that can be shortened, they're always going to get called that shortened version by the friends, aren't they? Like, I love the name Zachariah, but I really don't like the name Zach, and I don't think anybody would call somebody Zachariah, would they? Unless, you know, you made it clear that that was what you wanted to be called. You'd always get shortened to Zach, so I think you have to think about that. Do you like the long version and the short version? And of Edward, I just like Edward, not Ed. So, not really sure about that one. We'll see. And then the last one, name number 6 that I loved, was Quinley, because I really like the name Quinn for short. But my partner has got a friend on the building site called Quinn, who was a bit of a cheeky chappy apparently. So he said that he couldn't get over that. So yeah, I think that name might have been taken away from me slightly too. So we'll see. So yeah, that's my 6 boys' names that we like. If you've got any recommendations, please pop them in the comments down below. And if you're expecting as well at the same time as me, I'd love to know what you're having and what names you like. Just for any inspiration, anything old that I could use that my partner might like, that's not too old, too granddad. Yeah, they're all of the names. So his name could be on there, but more than likely not, seeing as though we have kind of like a reason for each one that why we won't be using it. So anyway, I hope you this video, and give me a thumbs up and a subscribe if you're new here, and I will look forward to seeing you in my next video. Thank you, bye.